ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भागवतम कैंटो 5 चैप्टर 5 वर्स 23। न ब्राह्मणैस्तुलये भूतमन्यत् पश्यामि विप्रा किमतः परन्तु तस्मिन् प्रहुतं श्रद्धयाहम् अश्नामि कामं न तथा अग्निहोत्रे। O respectful Brahmanas, as far as I am concerned, no one is equal or superior to the Brahmanas in the world. In this world, I do not find anyone comparable to them. When people know my motive after performing rituals according to the Vedic principles, they offer food. They offer food to me with faith and love through the mouth of a Brahmana. When food is thus offered unto me, I eat it with full satisfaction. Indeed, I derive more pleasure from food offered in that way than from the food offered in the sacrificial fire. Purport: according to the Vedic system, after the sacrificial ceremony, the Brahmanas are invited to eat the remnants of the offered food. It is offered to the Lord, and the remnants are distributed to the Brahmanas first. When the Brahmanas eat the food, it is to be considered directly eaten by the Supreme Lord. Thus, no one can be compared to qualified Brahmanas. The perfection of evolution is to be situated on the Brahminical platform. Of course, this is talking about real Brahmana, not just birth Brahmana. Any civilization not based on Brahminical culture or guided by Brahmanas is certainly a condemned civilization. Presently, human civilization is based on sense gratification, and consequently, more and more people are becoming addicted to different types of things. No one respects Brahminical culture. Demoniac civilization is attached to Ugra Karma, horrible activities, and big industries are created to satisfy unfathomable lusty desires. Consequently, the people are greatly harassed by governmental taxation. The people are irreligious and do not perform the sacrifices recommended in Bhagavad Gita. Yajna bhavati parjanya. By the performance of sacrifice, clouds form and rain falls. Due to sufficient rainfall, there is sufficient production of food. Guided by the Brahmanas, society should follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Then people will become very happy. Anna bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. Anna bhavanti bhutani. When animals and man are sufficiently fed with grains, they become stronger, their hearts become tranquil, and their brains peaceful. They can then advance in spiritual life, life's ultimate destination. Of course, now this is the expected civilization, the way the people have to live. But because there is no guidance by Brahmanas and the whole society is being led and guided by Shudras, so when animals and man are sufficiently fed with grain, Brahminical or Varnashrama system, where Brahmanas guide others. So when people have food and are satisfied, they become stronger, their hearts become tranquil, and their brains peaceful. Heart becomes tranquil because heart of people is always agitated. But when they eat food, everything becomes tranquil. their brains peaceful, then they can advance in spiritual life. That is the idea. But because there are no Brahmanas getting the society, and it's all whole society is centered around sense gratification. As soon as there is sufficient food grains, they become stronger and they become more agitated. Their brains become more, the brains come up with more ideas, better ideas for sense gratification, and they advance towards hellish life. So that is the difference between the guidance, the type of leaders that the society has. Lord is providing food for everybody. What do we do with the food? That depends on the type of guidance one gets. The society has to be guided by Brahmanas. The society is not guided by Brahmanas, it is a condemned society, condemned civilization. So Ṛṣabhadeva here is saying there is no one equal or superior to the Brahmanas. And again, it is not just by birthright, it is by qualification. Brahma janati iti brahmanaha patan patan yajan yajan dana pratigraha sama dama titiksha saucham. So many qualities are expected out of a Brahmana, not just namesake Brahmana. And it's not sufficient if one becomes a Brahmana, one has to come to the stage of Vaishnava. So when food is offered with faith and love through the mouth of a qualified Brahmana, then the Lord is more pleased than when the food is offered in sacrificial fire. Similarly, when the food is offered to a qualified Vaishnava, then it becomes Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad. So much is the position, esteemed position of a Brahmana or a Vaishnava. धृतातनूरुषति मे पुराणी येनेह सत्त्वं परमं पवित्रं शमोदमः सत्यमनुग्रहश्च तपस्तितीक्षानुभवश्च यत्र. The Vedas are my eternal transcendental sound incarnation. Therefore, the Vedas are Shabda Brahma. In this world, the Brahmanas thoroughly study all the Vedas and because they assimilate the Vedic conclusions, they're also to be considered the Vedas personified. And because they assimilate the Vedic conclusions, meaning they live as per the Vedic conclusions, they become persons who are living the Vedas. So Vedas personified. Of course, then there are the Vedas personified themselves. The actual persons who are those Vedas. They have a personal form also. They are also called Vedas personified. The Brahmanas are situated in the supreme transcendental mode of nature, Sattva-guna. Transcendental mode of nature. Of course, it is the most elevated amongst the three gunas, but we are also expected to transcend that. Because of the Brahmanas being in Sattva-guna, they are fixed in Shama, mind control, Dhamma, sense control, Satya, truthfulness. These three qualities are very important. Shama, Dhamma, Satya. Then Titiksha, Anugraha, Satyam, Anugraha. They describe the Vedas in their original sense, not speculative sense, in their original sense. And out of mercy, Anugraha, they preach the purpose of Vedas to all conditioned souls. So this is a Brahmana is supposed to do this. Brahmana, one purpose Prabhupada says, Brahmana doesn't mean just he is doing deity worship, but he is not preaching. Brahmana means he has to preach. He can also do deity worship. Brahmana class of people are actually preachers. They practice tapasya and titiksha, and they realize the position of the living entity and the Supreme Lord. These are the 8 qualifications of the Brahmanas. Therefore, among all living entities, no one is superior to the Brahmanas. So, only if the Brahmanas have these qualities in them, Shama, Dhamma, Satya, mercy, Anugraha, tapasya, penance, titiksha, tolerance, and anubhava. They realize the position of the living entity and the Supreme Lord. These are the 8 qualifications of the Brahmanas. This is a true description of a Brahmana. Brahmana is one who has assimilated the Vedic conclusions by practicing mind and sense control. He speaks the true version of all the Vedas. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Veda is to sarve Rame Bhavetyaha. By studying all the Vedas, one should come to understand the transcendental position of Lord Sri Krishna. One who actually assimilated the essence of the Vedas can preach the truth. He is compassionate to conditioned souls who are suffering the threefold miseries of this conditioned world due to their not being Krishna conscious. A Brahmana should take pity on the people and preach Krishna consciousness in order to elevate them. Sri Krishna himself, the Supreme Person of Godhead, personally descends into this universe from the spiritual kingdom to teach conditioned souls about the values of spiritual life. He tries to induce them to surrender unto him. Similarly, the Brahmanas do the same thing. After assimilating the Vedic instructions, they assist the Supreme Lord in his endeavor to deliver conditioned souls. The Brahmanas are very dear to the Supreme Lord due to their high sattva guna qualities. And they also engage in welfare activities for all conditioned souls in the material world. So these qualities are to be noted, and Brahmana has to develop these qualities, these 8 qualifications. The sum total of all this is preaching. So the rest are all, at least in Prabhupada's mission, all these are required so that one can actually preach. One has to take up tapasya, one has to tolerate situations and people, one has to show mercy, one has to say the truth. All this is directed more towards preaching, which is what Prabhupada is highlighting the purport. Conditioned souls are suffering. Lord himself personally descends to teach the conditioned souls about the values of spiritual life. That needs to be carried forward by the Brahmanas. Atopyanantat paratap parasmat vargapavargadhipaterna kinchit yesham kim pu syaditarena tesham akinchananam mai bhakti bhajam. I am fully potent, almighty, and superior to Lord Brahma and Indra. I am also the bestower of all happiness obtained in the heavenly kingdom and by liberation. Nonetheless, the Brahmanas do not seek material comforts from me. So another quality of Brahmanas. They do not seek material comforts. They are very pure, another quality. And do not want to possess anything, another quality. They simply engage in my devotional service, another quality. What is the need of their asking for material benefits from anyone else? The Brahmana should never, extend his hand to get something from anybody. That is not a Brahmana. The Brahmana is completely dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So apart from the 8 qualities in the previous verse, there are more qualities. They do not seek material comfort. Very pure, do not want to possess anything. They simply engage in devotional service. The perfect Brahminical qualification is stated herein. Akinchananam mai bhakti bhajam. The Brahmanas are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Consequently, they have no material wants, nor do they possess material things. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the position of pure Vaishnavas who are anxious to return home back to Godhead. Nishkinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanon Mukhasya. Those who actually want to return back to Godhead are Nishkinchana. That is, they have no desire for material comfort. Nishkinchana actually means having nothing, possessing nothing material. Meaning, even though somebody might possess something, they don't think that it is there. They just think that it is property of Krishna to be used in his service. That is Nishkinchana. And they don't desire anything for their material comfort. If they have anything, they use it for Krishna's service, not for hoarding money and becoming rich and getting material comforts. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises, Sandarshanam Vishayinam Atha Yoshitam Chaha Hanta Hanta Vishabhakshanato Asadhu. Who is an asadhu? Meaning these qualities should not be there in a sadhu or a bhakta. Material opulence and sense gratification through the association of women are more dangerous than poison. This is asadhu. Brahmanas who are pure Vaishnavas always engage in the Lord's service and are devoid of any desire for material gain. Devoid of any desire for material gain. Brahmanas do not worship demigods like Brahma, Indra, Shiva for any material comfort. They do not even ask the Supreme Lord for material profit. Therefore, it is concluded that the Brahmanas are the supreme living entities of this world. Sri Kapila also confirms. Third canto. Tasman may arpita shesha kriyarthatma nirantarah may arpitatmanah pumso may sanyasta karmanah na pashyami param bhutam akartu samadarsanat. The Brahmanas are always dedicated to the Lord's service with their bodies, words, and mind. There is no better position than a Brahmana who thus engages himself and dedicates himself to the Supreme Lord. With body, word, and mind, words and mind, a Brahmana is always dedicated to the Lord's service. So we can try to remember these qualities. Shama, the previous verse, Shama, Dama, Satya, then Anugraha, mercy, then Tapasya, Titiksha, then Tapasya, Titiksha, Anubhava, which is realization. What is one more? Tapasya, Titiksha. Same quality. So very qualification. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is that? Free from material contamination. Study all the Vedas. Then after that, in this verse, they don't seek any material comfort. They do not possess anything. They are pure and they simply engage in my devotional service. These are the qualities of Brahmana Vaishnava. Sarvani madhishnataya bhavadbhis charani bhutani suta druvani sambhavitavyani pade padevo vivikta drigbhis tadu arhanam me. My dear sons, you should not envy any living entity, be he moving or non-moving. Knowing that I am situated in them, you should offer respect to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me. So if you don't offer respect to anybody, we can understand we are not offering respect to Krishna. Very powerful verse, powerful instruction. This verse, the word Vivikta Drigbhihi, meaning without envy, is used. All living entities are the abode of the Supreme Person of Godhead in its Paramatma feature. Not only living entities, even atom. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Andantarastha Paramanu Sayantara. God is situated in this universe with Garbhodakashai Vishnu and Kshirodakashai Vishnu. He is also situated within every atom. According to the Vedic statement, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Supreme Lord is situated everywhere, and wherever he is situated is his temple. Wherever the Lord is situated is his temple. So Lord is situated in every atom, in every living entity, moving or non-moving. So every living entity is the temple of the Lord. Every every material element, anything in the material world is a temple of the Lord because the Lord is situated there. So we have to offer respect to everything. We even offer respect to a temple from a distant place, and all living entities should similarly be offered respect. See, we don't actually this consciousness, we just forget all the time. We see everything as just an object of our sense gratification. Actually, this is such a disease conditioned souls have. That anything we see, we just immediately think of our sense gratification. How do I use this object for my sense gratification? But Lord has manifested everything so that everything can be used in His service. And is present in everything also. So just this consciousness, this is Brahma Bhuta, seeing Brahman everywhere. Then we will not fall down to material conditioned consciousness. We have to remember, at no point of time, we should try to engage in sense gratification. Because nothing belongs to us. Ṛṣabhadeva sarvam. Everything belongs to the Lord. And also then, maybe we have some people in our house who are working for us, maybe in our office, factory, etc. Whatever, maybe just some unknown people on the street, whatever it is, or even animals. If everybody, we have to offer respect. Of course, different living entities have to be dealt with based on the body they have acquired. For example, we don't deal with a Brahmana and a snake similarly. We see the qualifications. But of course, the underlying mood always should be that of respect. And many times we think everybody is here to serve us. So we end up actually thinking that we possess everything. We even ill-treat other people. This is different from the theory of pantheism, which holds that everything is God. In pantheism, it means everything is God. Here we are not saying everything is God. Here we are saying everything is a property of God. Everything has a relationship with God because God is situated everywhere. We should not make any particular distinction between the poor and the rich, like the foolish worshippers of Daridra Narayana. Narayana is present in the rich as well as the poor. One should not simply think that Narayana is situated among the poor. He is everywhere. An advanced devotee will offer respect to everyone, even to cats and dogs. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Bhagavad Gita 5.18. This Samadarshinaha, equal vision, should not be mistaken to mean that the individual is the same as the Supreme Lord. They are always distinct. Every individual person is different from the Supreme Lord. It is a mistake to equate the individual living entity with the Supreme Lord on the plea of Vivikta Drik, Samadrik. The Lord is always in an exalted position, even though He agrees to live everywhere. Srila Madhvacharya, quoting Padma Purana, states, Vivikta Drishti Jivanam Dishnataya Parameshwarasya Veda Drishti. One who has clear vision and who is devoid of envy can see that the Supreme Lord is separate from all living entities, although He is situated in every living entity. Madhvacharya further quotes from Padma Purana. Upapadayet paratmanam jivebhyo yap pade pade vede naiva chaitasmat priyo vishnostu kashtana. One who sees the living entity and the Supreme Lord as always distinct is very dear to the Lord. Just by seeing the living entity and Supreme Lord as distinct, one becomes very dear to the Lord. Karna Purana also states, Yo Hare Shaiva Jivanam Vedavakta Hare Priyaha. One who preaches that the living entities are separate from the Supreme Lord is very dear to Lord Krishna. Which means one who preaches that the living entities are same as Supreme Lord is not very dear to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. Anyway, important thing for us is to see that the Paramatma is present in every living entity and even every atom. And definitely we should respect every jiva at every moment. And by doing so, we offer respect to Krishna. This is has to be, we should be fixed in this thought process. Manovacho drikkarane hitasya sakshat kritam me pariparhanam hi vina puman ye namaha vimohat kratan tapashpashan vimoktumishet. The true activity of the sense organs, mind, sight, words, and all the knowledge gathering and working senses is to engage fully in my service. Full true activity is to use everything in Krishna's service. Whatever has been given to us. Unless his senses are thus engaged, the living entity cannot think of getting out of the great entanglement of material existence, which is exactly like Yamaraja's stringent rope. So please understand, is to engage fully in my service. Ṛṣabhadeva is saying fully, not part-time. We can't do part-time bhakti. We have to do full-time bhakti. As stated in Narada Pancharatra, Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. This is the conclusion of bhakti. All the time, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva has been stressing devotional service. And now he's concluding by saying that all the senses should be engaged in the Lord's service. There are 5 senses by which we gather knowledge and 5 senses with which we work. These 10 senses and mind should be fully engaged in the Lord's service. Without engaging them in this way, one cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. And so if you want to get out of the clutches of Maya, then we have to do this. Otherwise, it's okay. We will continue to remain bound. If you want to really become free and get out of this entanglement, then we have to engage fully in Krishna's service. And again, for maintenance, if somebody has to earn, can earn, but that money has to be used not for sense gratification, but for the service of the Lord. Okay, I think I'll stop here. Actually, no, I finished this. Shukadeva Goswami said, thus the great well-wisher of everyone, the Supreme Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, instructed his own sons. Although they were perfectly educated and cultured, he instructed them just to set an example of how a father should instruct his sons before retiring from family life. That means that one has to first, father has to retire from family life, and before retiring, he has to instruct his sons. Sannyasis who are no longer bound by fruitive activity and who taken to devotional service after all their material desires have been vanquished, also learn by these instructions. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva instructed his 100 sons, of whom the eldest Bharata was a very advanced devotee and a follower of Vaishnavas. In order to rule the whole world, the Lord enthroned his eldest son on the royal seat. Thereafter, although still at home, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva lived like a madman, naked and with disheveled hair. Then the Lord took the sacrificial fire within himself and he left Brahmavarta to rule the whole world. After accepting the feature of Avadhuta, a great saintly person without material care, not caring for anything concerned with the body, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva passed through human society like a blind, deaf and dumb man, an idle stone, a ghost or a madman. All the people called him such names. He remained silent and did not speak to anyone. Avadhuta is one who has surpassed the rules and regulations of Varnashrama. Ṛṣabhadeva began to tour through cities, villages, mines, countrysides, valleys, gardens, military camps, cow pens, homes of covered men, transient hotels, hills, forests, and hermitages. Wherever he traveled, all bad elements surrounded him just as flies surround the body of an elephant coming from a forest. He was always being threatened, beaten, urinated upon, and spat on. Sometimes people threw stones, stool, and dust at him. And sometimes people passed foul air before him. We can't just imagine these things. Hmm. Those people called him many bad names and gave him a great deal of trouble. And people keep asking, what should we do when people give trouble? But he did not care about this, for he understood that the body is simply meant for such an end. Meaning, body has to experience all this. This is the end of the. This is what the body will end up with. And he did not care, not bother much. He was situated on the spiritual platform, and being in a spiritual glory, he did not care for all these material insults. So this is the platform we have to be in. We have to try and come to this platform. Hmm. Situated on the spiritual platform, and we have to remain in our spiritual glory. Meaning, spiritual glory means that the glory of the Atma. That I am not this body, I am the Atma. Atma is part and parcel of Krishna. Hmm. Eternal servant of Krishna. This is glory of the Atma. Hmm. So, being situated in the glory, one does not care for anything that happens on the material platform. Very, very exalted state. In other words, he completely understood that matter and spirit are separate, and he had no bodily conception. And thus, without being angry at anyone, he walked through the whole world alone. Though people were ill-treating him, he did not become angry at anyone. As far as Ṛṣabhadeva is concerned, it has already been explained. He did not at all possess a material body, and therefore he was tolerant of all the trouble offered to him by the bad elements in society. Consequently, he could tolerate people throwing stool and dust upon him and beating him. His body was transcendental and consequently did not at all suffer pain. So this is a very exalted state. Even if we are experiencing pain, we are still expected to tolerate, knowing that we are not the body. Although Lord Ṛṣabhadeva was maltreated by the bad elements of the world, he was not at all affected. Therefore, it is stated here, he was situated in his own glory. So Mahima Avasthanena. He was never saddened due to being insulted in many ways described above, because he was situated in the position of Atma, platform of Atma. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's hands, feet, and chest were very long. His shoulders, face, and limbs were all very delicate and symmetrically proportioned. His mouth was beautifully decorated with his natural smile, and he appeared all the more lovely with his reddish eyes, spread wide like the petals of a newly grown lotus flower, covered with dew in the early morning. The irises of his eyes were so pleasing that they removed all the troubles of everyone who saw him. Actually, this you can see. You can see the irises of eyes of devotees. They remove all the troubles that you might be experiencing, and of course, the eyes of Krishna also. His forehead, ears, neck, nose, and all his other features were very beautiful. His gentle smile always made his face beautiful, so much so that he even attracted the hearts of married women. It was as though they had been pierced by arrows of Cupid. About his head was an abundance of curly, matted brown hair. His hair was disheveled because his body was dirty and not taken care of. He appeared as if he were haunted by a ghost. When Lord Ṛṣabhadeva saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. We should not imitate all this. This is a very high platform. Because Lord Ṛṣabhadeva remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. In this way, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva followed the behavior of cows, deers, and crows. Sometimes he moved or walked, and sometimes he sat down in one place. Sometimes he lay down, behaving exactly like cows, deers, and crows. In that way, he ate drank past stool and urine and cheated the people in this way. O King Parikshit, just to show all the yogis the mystic process, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, the plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, performed wonderful activities. Actually, he was the master of liberation and was fully absorbed in transcendental bliss, which increased 1,000-fold. Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, is the original source of Lord Ṛṣabhadeva. There is no difference in their constitution, and consequently, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva awakened the loving symptoms of crying, laughing, and shivering. He was always absorbed in transcendental love. Due to this, all mystic powers automatically approached him, such as the ability to travel in outer space at the speed of mind. So we can understand one who achieves Krishna Prema, he has all these mystic powers. Although he could do all this, he did not exercise these powers. So this is perfect. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkamata Eva Shanta, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakaliya Shanta. The word Shanta means completely peaceful. Unless all one's desires are fulfilled, one cannot be peaceful. Everyone is trying to fulfill his aspirations and desires, be they material or spiritual. Those in the material world are Ashanta because they have so many desires to fulfill. The pure devotee, however, is Nishkama, without desire. Anyabhilashita Shunya, pure devotee is completely free from all kinds of material desires. Karmis, on the other hand, are simply full of desires because they try to enjoy sense gratification. They are not peaceful in this life, nor the next, during the present, past, present, or future. So if suppose we are doing bhakti and still we are not satisfied, we are not happy, we are not peaceful, that means that we have some material intentions. We are not practicing anyabhilashita shunya. Similarly, jnanis are always aspiring after liberation. That is also desire. Yogis are aspiring after siddhis, or a devotee is not at all interested in these things because he is fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. And he only wants Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's happiness. Krishna is Yogeshwara, possessor of all mystic powers, and is Atma Rama, fully self-satisfied. The Yoga Siddhis are described in this verse. Anyway. Lord Ṛṣabhadeva possessed all these mystic yoga powers, but he was satisfied with his devotional love of Krishna, which was evinced by the ecstatic symptoms such as crying, laughing, and shivering. So pure devotee has all these qualities, but he just doesn't use them, doesn't exercise them because it's not required. Siddha, the yogis want this because they want to show off their power and they also want to enjoy material things, but maybe higher, going to higher planets, etc., etc. But a bhakta doesn't have any desire connected with this material world or anything else except for the pleasure of Krishna. So with this, we end the 5th canto, 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Any comments? Any questions? Any comments? Okay, we'll end here. We'll continue chapter 6 from Monday. Krishna willing. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभात की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यः सपतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव गौरव भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।